guys. This is the Binti Love Podcast, and I am your host, Binti Love. This is me. My little glasses and pencils, allegedly, But, this is my this is my laptop to look and everything on. Okay, great. I'm your host, Binti Love. And today I'm going to be reviewing the season here. As it says, Huntsville, Alabama started September 10th, 2022. And so this is Huntsville, Alabama. The new season that starts in September. Okay. And here at the Binti Love Podcast, we like to teach, laugh, comment, criticize, and inform the viewers. Constructive criticism. Hopefully. Okay, great. Yeah, and this is definitely a teachable moment. Let me get back to that. Teachable moment. Okay. Moving on. So, so this is Love and Marriage, Huntsville, Alabama. This aired September 10th, 2022. Okay. Point number one. This is the 5 Points, 5 Stars review. 5 Points, 5 Stars review. And so my first point is, let me just say this. Martell and his dedication to his mother. It's really impressive. And here you can see him, his mother, is in the car with him. But this is Martell. And this is how emotional he gets with his mother. He shares his viewpoints. And I could just feel that he loves his mother, And, so this is one of these moments, they're like driving in the car, blah, blah, this, blah, that. And, he's talking to his mother. He's having a great conversation with her while driving. And, what I love is I love the sound of a car, on a long drive. Now, they're in Alabama, so there's a lot of places to just, you could just be like low key, and he's just driving, and Martell's mother is in, the other seat, so he's talking and commenting about this and that with his mother for a long drive, it looks like to me. Like they left the city and they went into, further out. And I love that because it's like, I think great conversations can be had on a nice, peaceful drive. It's so soothing. I love a long drive, as long as I'm not driving. Okay, moving on to point number 2. I do want to report that the therapist, let's look at him. Okay, the therapist was kind of like, he was kind of right about the couples being tied to each other for 15 minutes. As like is it a metaphor? I don't really know. But yeah, he's the therapist there that they've been using since I've known this show has started. He's the therapist that came out to his house, the couple's blah, this, blah, that, for some type of retreat. And he's like, okay, we're going to do this exercise. And you're going to be tied to each other, their ankles tied together. Like the female spouse and the male spouse, they're tied together at their ankles and walk around together like that. I was like, wow, okay. so they can get exactly or grasp what is really going on. Like, they are in a relationship, a marriage. They are together. They're tied together in a marriage. So I like that, that he did that, I think. But, yeah, so I think he used that as like, look, this is what's going on here. And they keep trying to do individual aspects of things, and they're still in a marriage. They're married. He's just there. But, they're married, and they were married, and these are married here now, but, this is Melody and Mahal, the people that created the show. They're not married anymore, and they were not there at the couples retreat. But I think what the therapist is trying to say is that, you guys are tied together, guys. You're not going to just, okay, I still want to, do my own thing and things of that nature, but, not recognize that, you're not separate people anymore. You guys are in a marriage, and this is going to be for as long as you guys are tied together in a marriage. Now, how do you view the tie together? Being tied to each other. It seems like, Tiffany, she was kind of not so happy about being tied together and, going through the grass and the, dirt or whatever that was there, being tied to the ankle to each other. And I feel as though she was kind of I don't think that, I could just see in Tiffany's face, she was like, I would have not gotten this cute. This is Tiffany. I would have not gotten this cute and all pink if I knew I would be jumping around in dirt and grass today. So I felt that, I understand what he was doing, but the reason why I feel that their faces were kind of what are you doing, God? You know what I mean? Is because, it was they were not dressed for that. I can't tell what they really had on. They seemed to have the same clothes on that they went there, not to really be in that uniform like that, to jump around in the dirt. And so that's what leads me to point number 3, which is my criticism for the therapist. People need to know about a dress code. Did anybody, catch their feet, whether they had sneakers or shoes on? Was Tiffany in her face that she had there? Whoever else, looking at the therapist right here, okay, what is this about? Did anyone catch what type of shoes they had on? Because that might have been what we were receiving as why they were not really feeling him. They were I don't really feel this exercise, because they still had shoes on, and then they didn't have the proper shoes on. And then they had the clothes that, they didn't think that they was going to be jumping around in that. So that's my criticism, that if he can work on that, have him change clothes for these outdoor exercises. And that might get the point across a little bit more. If they had sneakers on, that might have been better. And they would have been okay, I get your point and stuff like that. Okay, then. But point number 4, this definitely is a research moment. And to let me put my professor hat on, it's a research moment with Binti Love, and this is also a teachable moment with Binti Love. Okay. With this research moment, I have, through research and study, accordingly to research, 70% of all couples that have therapy allegedly stay together. And so they do not get divorced. So this is definitely a teachable moment. Let me just repeat it. They went to see the therapist. And although they might not have been receiving him initially, research shows that 70% of couples that have therapy allegedly stay together and they do not get a divorce. So this therapist might really be saving their marriage more than they realize. And so, I think that the methods that he used, like, okay, I got the analogy or whatever, like, oh, okay, you're tied together. This is a relationship. You can't still be out there. He's doing his own separate thing. She's doing her own separate thing, and wondering why there's problems in the marriage when they're tied together. And I got that analogy. My only criticism was they might have received it better if they had the proper clothes on and they felt better and they was not hot out there in the sun and had like dress clothes on. Yeah. So that was the research moment and also the criticism. Okay. Again, this is the Binti Love Podcast. I'm your host, Binti Love. Make sure to subscribe. So you basically can get my videos on time and things of that sort. Yeah. Okay, guys, I have another category. We have the teachable moment, the research moment, the 5 points, the 5 stars, review, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. So the new category is the MVP award. Now, I feel as though the MVP is the person that really carried the show. Like, if they were not in this episode, you'd have been like, what are they saying? Blah this, blah that. I thought it was Tiffany. I feel as though Tiffany, now this Tiffany's the one that's married to, I think his name is Lewis. I felt as though if she was not in this episode, the MVP is the most valuable player. And I think Tiffany, was the one that if she was not in this episode, it would have been boring. So I give the most valuable player to Tiffany for this episode. And I also give this episode 5 stars. And Tiffany right here was a great contributor to it. Otherwise, it might have been a little bit more dull. Like, I loved how she opened up about her upbringing and all of the rest of that stuff. And she really gave some structure and some I can't remember the word I'm trying to say, but she gave this episode some relevance to why we were sitting here watching it. Sometimes that. Okay, all said in love. Okay, point number 5 is, a point of love. Now, I loved it, and I can't remember this new girl's name. However, I loved it when Melody was there and she was talking to the new girl here. And she was basically saying something that was really, really profound, I thought. So Melody here was sitting down with the new girl, and she was like, the new friend, talking about and sharing about peace and how she will not let people affect her peace. She said she simply knows when it's time to say enough and cut people off, because she feels that at some point the course of action is needed to be taken to the point that I'm just going to cut you off because you're disturbing my peace. I love the fact that she shared that, and she shared her position on that with the other lady, the new girl that she was speaking to, Melody was speaking to at this time. And, and Melody's comments were, basically allegedly along the line of my peace. I don't want to basically have people in my life who's going to disturb my peace. And so she just cuts them off because she's not going to have it. And I thought that was really good advice that, Melody was giving. And, that was made the episode great, too. So I definitely think that was the positive aspect of the episode. And so that was a really good job. And that was my 5th point. And, my 5th point is always, it ends with love because this is the Binti Love Podcast, So I think Melody definitely showed the love of the episode, talking about this is why I do this and this is why I do that. She is the multimillionaire there, more than $1 million for sure. And, she's like, this is the structure that I use to basically say, look, don't disturb my peace, because you can't prosper without peace, apparently. I feel that's what Melody is trying to tell to the new girl. Okay. Well, make sure to subscribe. This is the Binti Love Podcast. And everything is a teachable moment. Yeah. Not everything, but I'm leading to a teachable moment. Now, I am subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. And I'm coming with something more here on Spotify within the next year. Okay, and that is my website, www.bintilove.com. And definitely subscribe. This is on YouTube. So subscribe, and friend me.